All right. Welcome, everybody, to Chalice and Chains. My name is Sam, and today we are going to be playing some Star Wars Fantasy Flight Games, Age of Rebellion. Going to be playing a kind of a cool game set in the same time frame as the events of my last session of the Edge of the Empire Sunday Sandbox. And this one is ostensibly is a group of rebel partisans who sort of kind of informally work for Saw Gerrera. They don't officially work for the Rebel Alliance, but they will be considered rebels by the Imperials. And they are the Bravo Squadron. They are here to complete the mission that their Alpha Squadron was unable to complete, which was to assassinate an Imperial Governor that is on the planet of Toydaria in Hutt Space to deal with some trade relations and stuff like that. And the sort of aftermath of that story, at least for the heroes of my Edge of the Empire campaign, can be seen on my channel. It's the video right before this one. And I think it's, I think I linked the playlist in the cards on this live play as well. So you can check that out. But I'm going to let my players introduce themselves. A couple of notes, though, before I do that. We are using the Age of Rebellion beginner game pre-generated characters. So if anybody's familiar with this system, they are 90% full stat blocks in a way. They're missing a few things, but for the purposes of this one shot, that doesn't matter. We're also not using the duty mechanic that is kind of part of Age of Rebellion for two reasons. One, I don't know it because I play Edge of the Empire, and because I didn't feel like it made that much sense in this particular game. So we will be doing that. Also, I will be kind of calling out the rules and stuff, because although Chris and Rory have played with me several times, Jose, this will be his first time with the system. And I think that I always like doing that on these streams so that other people who aren't familiar with the system can kind of learn by watching. So hopefully that will be helpful. But I'm going to go ahead and let my players introduce themselves. So I'll start from my right. So I'll start with Chris. Chris, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and who you're playing today.
Hey guys, I'm Chris Johnson, and I'm going to be playing Vendry, a Duro character today. You can find me over on Dargon Gaming Squad channel. I am one of several hosts, and I also host a cooking channel, CJ's Kitchen. So if you want to check out some recipes, come see me over there.
Indeed. And yeah, Chris just released a video, sort of a flip through of the Genesis system. So check that out. I am super excited to check that out. But so far, I've been getting my narrative dice system fixed with the Star Wars version. So we'll see eventually how Genesis works out. But cool. So yeah, so next up is Jose. Jose, if you want to introduce yourself and who you are playing today.
Hey everybody, my name's Jose. I got the YouTube channel D20Z, and today I'm playing Cal, who's a soldier.
Yeah, human soldier. All right. And yeah, this is my first time playing with Jose. I'm really happy that I was able to organize that. This game was also organized through, ostensibly through the Absolute Tabletop group, although that's because I private messaged all these people, but they're all part of the group. So that's kind of where we met. And then last but not least, we've got Rory. So Rory, if you want to introduce yourself and the character you're playing.
Hey everybody, I'm Rory, and I'm playing Arkhan, the Bothan Commander. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I have been excited to play a Bothan for a while, and I'm actually surprised he's not a spy.
Yeah, that was the interesting thing when looking at these pre-gens, that the Duro was the spy and the Bothan was the commander. But I love it. So, all right, what we will do is we will jump right into it here. Now, one thing to note, we have rolled our destiny pool, and you should see that hopefully up at the top of the screen here. Right now, they are looking at 3 dark side points and 1 light side point. So I've got a little bit of heat to bring right away. All right, so here we go. So you guys are on the planet of Toydaria, and you guys have been here now for several weeks, setting up, planning, preparing. Your intel has shown that this Imperial Governor is going to be here. He's going to be meeting with the King of Toydaria to discuss trade relations. And this is a big deal because the Empire tends to kind of stay out of Hutt Space as much as they can. You know, there's a bit of an arrangement there, but they do trade with the Hutts. The Hutts also kind of trade with the Rebel Alliance, although unofficially, and so it's kind of a don't ask, don't tell. As long as nobody messes with each other, it's good. But this is big because this is sort of a formal trade relationship with the Empire. And so this has also drawn some of the major Hutts from Nal Hutta, Nar Shaddaa to Toydaria, because if this actually happens, that could ostensibly change the balance of power. The Hutts are trying to kind of remain as neutral as possible. Saw Gerrera does not care about any of that. He says there is an Imperial Governor here that is a high-value target, and you guys were here to destroy them. So you came with your colleagues, with your fellow partisans, and have been planning the assassination attempt. Now, D-Day is here. You've gotten here. You guys are waiting. Your mission or your objective is to sit and watch. And if your team is successful, you make your way to the starport, into the shuttle to go up to orbit where your ship is and get the heck out of here. But as you're watching and you see this explosion happen in the middle of this sort of square, right in the sort of government center of the capital of Toydaria, the already foggy scene in front of you erupts into chaos and flames and smoke and rubble and dust. And you hold your breath, not knowing if they've been successful or not, waiting, watching, and seeing people, locals, Toydarians, and smugglers, and Imperials running this way and that, all, as a blast has gone off in this urban area. And then as the smoke kind of clears, excuse me, and you press in a little bit, you see that, in fact, your team has failed. The Imperial entourage that had been with the governor has kind of is picking him up off the ground, almost as if something that a bodyguard would do. They would have probably tackled him to the ground to shield him from the blast. A few of them lie dead with shrapnel wounds in their backs on the ground, and the governor is coughing. You see nearby this Zeltron woman who looks like she is in the throes of death, and there seems to be all kinds of just people all around at this point trying to flee the scene. In fact, you guys are getting buffeted by the crowd as they're moving, smugglers and Toydarians as well. And you start to see, and you can hear also, the Toydarian Royal Guard starting to try to make their way in, because this is their city, right? And they're trying to maintain order. So you guys know that you have to succeed. But the Imperial garrison is right there. This was the government center. This was the, and while the garrison is small, there is an Imperial Star Destroyer in orbit, which probably has lots more troops. So everything is starting to collapse on this center. You guys are in plain clothes, but you've got your rifles and your gear. If you're caught by the Imperials, it's over. You have no chance of succeeding. But you have to take you have to take out the governor. But unfortunately for you, as you're getting buffeted by the crowd, rocked this way and that, kind of trying to maintain a visual with him, his team is moving him out. And so you have to do something. You have to make a move. You're going to have to figure out what you can do. But the streets are jammed. It's hard to see. There's chaos everywhere. And so you guys, I imagine, would look to your commander, to Commander Arkhan, who has to make a decision. As stormtroopers are flooding into the area, about to try to detain and or question people, try to figure out what is going on with the scene. They are minutes away from trying to lock down the square. What do you do?
I am here. Let's confirm that first.
Yes.
Check 1, 2. Buying time. Chris, what's your character's name?
Vendry.
Vendry, do you have that stun grenade?
Yes, sir.
Get ready to use it.
Yes, sir.
When you see them group up to try to lock down the square, throw it. Turns new. Take cover. Shield your eyes. As soon as it goes off, we're running past.
Affirmative.
I love it. All right. So great. So you're gonna be throwing a stun grenade. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. And so just for anybody who's watching, this system is so wonderful because you as the GM don't ever have to be the bad guy. The players will get themselves into the worst possible scenarios all by themselves. So yes, you can throw the grenade. Are you trying to throw it like at the fleeing or the entourage that's leaving, or are you just trying to throw it into the crowd to create chaos?
Well, I was thinking you said that they were kind of coming to shut down the square.
Yes.
So there's like probably a body of troops. So I was telling her to, like, when they're all grouped up and about to like shut everything down, throw the grenade then, so that we can get them all at the same time and try to run past them.
Okay. All right, absolutely. So, yes. So, Vendry, you have your grenade. You can certainly do that. What you would need to do if you want to take that action would be to make a ranged light attack. You are going to have to move in a little bit, though, because grenades, you can't throw them that far, right? And you're getting rocked back by the crowd because everybody's trying to push out of the square. So the first thing I would need you to do, actually, is to make an athletics roll for me, if you can. And I'm going to say this is again, so we're used to playing on Roll20, but so Chris, you'll have to set all of the difficulty and everything here. So this is going to be against a 2 purple difficulty. However, bam, I'm going to use my my dark side point here. So actually make that 1 purple and 1 red. And all checks in this scene right now that have to do with athletics or anything where you're trying to move or to do anything to sort of fight the crowd, impose 2 setback dice. Yep, so 2 of the black dice. So you're going to do your ranged light versus 1 purple, 1 red, and 2 black.
I had a quick question.
Yes.
While she's getting ready to run up and throw the grenade, am I allowed to, like, say, like, put my hand, like, crossing her back and put my gun like this so that way I can walk with her in case, to shoot somebody?
Oh yeah, for sure. I imagine like you guys would have trained together, so maybe that is like sort of a procedure, right? Like you're there ready in case her grenade doesn't go off for whatever reason, yeah, you can definitely do that.
All right, I just figured I can give her some covering in case everything, goes to hell.
Yeah, for sure. And in fact, if you wanted to take aim is a maneuver that you can take. It'll take a minute for you to do it, but you could actually take aim, and what that would do is if you need to fire, you could fire with an extra boost dice, which would be helpful. So just remember that if you do end up having to fire.
All right. Yeah, I'll do the aim then for
now. Yes, you could use coordination instead of athletics if you want. Yep. If you think it would be easier to kind of pick your way through the crowd, that's certainly possible. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and roll that dice. Ooh, lucky. Okay. So you succeeded. Now, you did get 2 threat. And what I'm going to be doing with threat in this game for the most part is piling on strain. So go ahead and take a point of strain. You succeed. So your stun grenade goes off. Unfortunately, though, you don't have any advantages, which is what you need to activate the blast quality. So you can't affect the entire group, but you can get at least one of the troops. This is going to create a distraction, certainly. But knowing that you are not going to be able to impact the entire group, how do you want to react? Or what is your thought? What is your plan?
Is there another way in or out? Like, I'm sorry. Is the way they're blocking it off the same way that the governor went?
No, so there are several different ways to get in and out of this square. The way that the stormtroopers were sort of attempting to do things was there was going to be little squads kind of at each entrance and exit to try to block the entire square off, but they got into the middle first to coordinate. And that's when you sort of threw the grenade. So right now they're in the middle, but there's potentially other ways for you to get out. If you want to get to the governor, though, at least going this way, you would probably have to go through them or past them.
So this is what the commander would be looking for. And I don't know if this exists, but I mean, so he doesn't necessarily want to go the same way that the governor did, but if there's like a road that goes parallel to where the governor was that he could get access to, he would, after the stun grenade gets thrown, he would kind of like point them in that direction and try to run towards that kind of road.
Yeah, for sure. What I would do in this case is make a streetwise check. To see if you can, or if you have knowledge, any ranks in knowledge, I suppose you could use that as well. But one of the two of those, and it would just be what's that?
I have streetwise.
Yeah, great. And then just do that against a standard 2 purple difficulty. Chris, did you end up using one of the light side points?
She did.
Okay. All right. I was like, why did that come back? But yeah, that would just be against a 2 difficulty. And actually, yeah, there you go. Oh, it canceled out. Oh no. All right. So here's what I'll say. You have a relatively good idea of what you could do to kind of parallel where you think he's going. The problem is that with the crowds and the way that they're unpredictable, they're all kind of fleeing in random directions, you have no confidence that the way that you will go will lead you to the governor. You think it should, but if there's any crowds that come up, you could end up having to detour again.
In this situation, the commander would go for it. Okay.
And so are you guys going to try to sort of just book it, or are you going to try to move about stealthily? Because you can certainly blend into the crowd. But now that stun grenade went off, you did take out one of the troopers.
Is the crowd going in the direction in the road, like toward the road that we want to go to, or are they going like counter that?
Yeah, they're going in all directions. So you could definitely find a pocket of people that are going in the direction you want to go, for sure.
Okay. So then, I mean, what the commander's going to try to do is run first towards that way and then try to blend in.
Okay.
So he's going to keep his gun away, basically, but he's going to run it first.
Okay. And are you going to kind of like motion to your team, or are you going to kind of talk to them, or just go?
I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong, guys, but I'm kind of visualizing it's a little too loud to really speak too much. So I feel like I would just like, once the stun grenade is thrown, he just kind of wave his hand like back, like over his shoulder, like to run. And then like, if they followed him, then when he got up to the next crowd, he would kind of like just blend in and hope that they would take his lead. You know what I mean? And try to like step into the crowd, the flow of the crowd.
Yeah, Keller would definitely like see him like doing his gestures for us to go, so he would put his hand down and he would just follow Bendry like side by side, so that way they don't get separated.
Okay, perfect. So you guys are gonna follow the commander then? Oh, Chris, I couldn't hear you there. I don't know if you got push to talk going on, or if it's Discord doing its normal thing to you. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
But I can see you at least, so that's interesting. Although when we do the voice part, it it always shows that little thing lighting up. You can always type for now if you need to, but yeah. So if you guys are heading kind of out that direction, you can certainly do that. And you kind of, Arkhan, you realize that probably what's going to happen is, based on your knowledge of the city, they're starting to head towards the warehouse district. You know that is going to be a little bit complicated because the warehouse district sits between where you guys are now and the starport. And obviously the starport is where the shuttle would be that they're going to try to get on to get back up to the Star Destroyer. So
in other words, we're on the opposite side of them as where they want to go.
Right. Yeah. You guys are basically, it's almost like a foot race at this point. Like you're trying to figure out a way that you can probably get ahead of the governor or some sort of advantage so that you could try to take this guy out. Right now you're kind of parallel, at least one street over, and possibly falling behind, but you're not sure.
I would look back to the team. We're going to lose them. They're headed to the starport, far side of the city. We need to get across quickly. And I think he would start looking around, and he's just kind of looking for like a building or an alley, like, the type of thing that you can use to try to cut across. Yeah, Chris still knows.
Yeah, I wonder if the Discord settings, if you could check in the Discord settings, if that might do it. Worst comes to worst, if you have to drop, I think you can get back in. But if not, I can send you the link again.
No, she can. If she goes to the direct messages, this one will be up at the top.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah, worst comes to worst, you can do that. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so you've said that, and Kale, when the commander says, "I think we're losing him," they're going to the starport. How do you react, or what do you think about that?
Well, he would probably respond. Is there any like buildings we can go across? Any like back alleys anywhere we get through to try to catch up to them?
So that is a great use for a destiny point. So if you want, you could flip that destiny point and see if you could magically make that appear for sure.
So do I just click on the...
Yeah, literally just click on that white one up there. That'll flip it over to me. Okay. So yeah, what you realize is you're kind of looking around, you're scanning the area, and you see that in fact there is like this narrow little passage. It looks like it was, you know, just like tiny little thing where two buildings are almost touching, but you think you could make it through there, and you kind of have an idea that you'd be able to probably gain some advantage if you go that way. You might be able to get closer.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Woo.
Yeah, he would mention something about it and say maybe we can like cut him through there and, you know, give him like a sneak attack or something.
Absolutely. And so, Vendry, you would have heard that as well from Kale, and Arkhan, you would too. You would kind of all notice this because you're all kind of right next to each other here. There is other people in the crowd, but yeah. So what are you guys going to do?
Oh, I'm sorry. I looked down and I read that. Could you just repeat that last thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kale has essentially found an alternate route that might be able to kind of gain you guys an advantage if you wish to take it. There are other people in the crowd that are going down that way as well, but I mean, it seems like your best bet at the moment. And he mentions that to you.
We're playing fast and loose with the plans now, so let's take any option we got.
All right, awesome. So you guys kind of run down that that little alleyway, and as you do that, you kind of pop out into, you know, this like sort of more open area. You're just outside of the sort of the government sector right now, and you're kind of heading into the warehouse district. So, you know, you've kind of got that little sort of area in between where it's kind of like shops and restaurants, you know, places where the government officials would go, and maybe where the business people would go, you know, leaving the warehouse district. And so you kind of come out into this little square, and there's like, you know, a cafe and a bodega, and you can see the Toydarians sort of floating around. Some of them are kind of boarding up their buildings. They're closing. Everybody's trying to like get inside. That, you know, so they're scared. You can see a couple of stormtroopers running along. There's a lot of smugglers and bounty hunters and just all the kinds of people that would be in Hutt Space, you know, kind of all trying to make it to the starport to get out of here. And you do kind of catch a glimpse across the way of the Imperial Governor's entourage, but in between you, like I said, is this little sort of almost like a little bodega kind of thing, and there is the crowd. So you could try to get to him, but you're either going to have to push your way through, make your way through, or look for some sort of advantage. And just because I am evil, I'm going to flip my destiny point here. And I'm going to say that a squad of stormtroopers kind of comes running into the square, just kind of on the opposite end. They're not necessarily seeing you per se, but they're going to try to get the crowd to like kind of to get them kind of corralled so they can start interrogating them.
You're killing me.
The buildings, like how tall are the buildings here? Are we talking about, you know, tall buildings, short buildings?
I mean, certainly, like, so this is mostly Toydarians that live here, so they're not huge buildings for sure. But I mean, they're probably a two-story, like a normal two-story building that you would see anywhere. One or two stories. You wouldn't necessarily be able to see over them, but they're fairly small, all things considered.
Are they the kind of buildings that are all like lined up where you could run from roof to roof, or?
Yeah, I mean, for a little ways anyway. You know, you would probably have to make some jumps, but it's pretty densely packed in here. When you get into the warehouse district, absolutely.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
With the destiny point, is there any way that I can see like a fire escape or something along the cafes and stuff that we can get through the ladder and follow?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I'm done.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, so you go ahead and describe it for me, Jose. You can kind of describe what you see and what advantage it will be for you.
Gotcha. So, Kale, as we're moving through and we see these stormtroopers coming in, like checking people, moving people to the side, he noticed in one of the cafes up front, there's like a little ladder that you can bring down, and it's just like a fire escape that goes all along to, I wouldn't say all the way to the start, but close enough. And he would like turn around and tell Arkhan.
Oh, that's a good find. We can't get in question by them. We're packing too much heat. Lead the way.
Awesome. And so you can do that. However, you're going to be basically climbing up the building, right? So if those stormtroopers are at all perceptive, they might see you. So if you want to try to kind of climb your way up slowly, carefully, stealthily to avoid detection, you could do that. Or if you want to really just book it up there as fast as you can, hoping that you can get up there, one of those two options. Either way, you're going to have to make a roll. It'll either be coordination or athletics. So you guys can kind of decide which approach you think makes sense, and then when you decide on that, let me know.
Well, how far is the stormtroopers with the governor away from us?
So they are kind of on the other side of the square. So they would be far enough away that, like, I don't know, if we were using range bands in this game, they would be at long range away. So they're you can see them, but it wouldn't be easy to get to them right now.
Good. Well, I would think that we would be in a hurry, so it would be athletic.
Yep. All right, you want to do athletics? Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to flip that destiny point. You're going to have to do athletics against 1 purple and 1 red. And there are still the 2 black dice as well, 2 setback dice, because actually, no, in this case, the 2 setback dice do not apply because you're not getting buffeted by the crowd at this point. You're trying to go up as fast as you can. So you can just roll for your athletics, whatever your green and yellow dice are on there, and then you do 1 purple and 1 red. I do want to ask, though, Chris or Rory, do either of you guys have ranks in athletics?
I have ranks in coordination.
Okay.
But not athletics.
No, I do not have ranks in athletics.
Okay.
I have...
By the way, the fire escapes that I was thinking is like, like the ones in New York where you just go like,
yep.
Not
it's not like the ladder that you pull down. It's sort of like a spiral. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fine. So you're like, kind of going up the thing. Okay. Well, go ahead and make the roll anyway for me. We're just going to see how this turns out.
Wait, all of us make it, and
yes.
What was it again? Because I thought it was just him making it.
Yeah, he is. It's just him making the roll. But I'm gonna say that you guys all are able to make it up. He succeeded, with no threats or anything. So yeah, you guys all managed to make it up. He leads the way, and you guys kind of follow right behind him. Making it up to the rooftop. You notice that the stormtroopers, as you kind of look back and scan the area, the stormtroopers that are in the square, they're busy. They're occupied with the crowd, trying to lock it down, trying to get the square locked down. And you do see that the kind of at the far end of this bodega, definitely like almost into the warehouse district at this point, is the governor and his entourage. You see that the crowds are starting to get a little bit thinner as you kind of head into the warehouse district, but the buildings are a lot denser. And you do notice that there is a kind of a free shot across the rooftop. You could make it probably to fairly close to the governor. But it's not just you run the whole way. You're going to have to make some jumps. So what I'm going to say here is you're going to have to make a series of athletics checks or potentially coordination if you wanted to, for example, use your climbing skills to kind of like swing around on a pole or whatever. You could use either of those. But I will need those rolls from all of you. This is just going to be against a standard. Well, actually, no, I'm going to upgrade it because I'm pretty much going to upgrade everything here. So we're going to do, in this case, just one red. It's not super difficult to do this. But because you're in a hurry, I am going to impose one setback dice as well. So you've got, for a difficulty, one red and one black. And you can choose either athletics or coordination for your skill.
Arkhan is going to turn to these two and say, have any of you ever thrown a bothan before?
No, sir.
Well, there might be a first day for everything.
Oh my gosh. You're going to have your crew throw you.
I turn to Kale. You look strong.
Well, there's, like you said, there's always a time for everything, so we might as well give it a shot. Quick question, like, is there any way that I could grab his foot and like try to help him jump up or something?
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you're making a run and you want to assist him, what I'll say is he'll still make the check, but he can add a boost dice to it. That'll just kind of slow you down though, so that on your, you'll be able to go, but you'll be a little bit further behind them potentially.
And I have fair coordination. It's my athletics that's terrible because I'm a tiny little guy.
Yep, that's fine. Actually, in this case, so if you want to do that, then I think probably what you could do is you'll notice that like on these buildings there are, like pipes and rain gutters and stuff. And so you could probably, instead of like jumping the gap, you could sort of jump up a little bit and like kind of like monkey bar climb your way across, like, that would be a way that you could do it with coordination. And so I think that, Kale, like you could probably sort of lift and help and kind of almost half toss him up so he's halfway there already. If you want to do that.
I'm done with that if he doesn't mind.
He says, yes, definitely. I could use a boost. Nice. Okay, yeah, so we're going to make a series of those or like one at a...
Well, so you just make one for right now.
Okay, so he's giving me a boost die. That's the light blue?
Yep, light blue, and then you do one red and one black. Okay, interesting.
Oh, wow.
All right. So as Arkhan is kind of getting ready to, with the assistance of Kale, kind of get half thrown up onto this thing, he manages to hold on, but because of the fog and it's these pipes are a little bit slippery. And so what's happening is Arkhan kind of makes his way up. He grabs on with both hands. One hand slips off. You're kind of holding on with one hand, but you're not able to immediately kind of wend your way across here. What I'm going to say, if you want, unless you have an idea for what you want to do with that advantage, you could just use it for like a boost on the next check if you want, or something else, but it would, you're going to have to make another coordination roll to get across this one because...
Yeah, I would say the advantage check is that, like, I let go with one hand, but I swung directly out to the left, and I'm going to be swinging right back to where my hand needs to be, so I'll have an advantage on trying to re-grab the bars and continue along. So. Okay,
absolutely. In the meantime, though, Kale, you see this happening in Vendry. You do as well. You see your commander almost kind of slip. Managed to kind of grab, swing himself up and grab his, his other hand back up onto the pipe. But for the moment, he's kind of holding on there, trying to, secure his grip. What are you guys going to do in this case to either assist with this.
Can we reach his? We can reach his lower limbs. He's not like he didn't go across something to grab this, right?
No, he did actually. Yeah, Kale kind of half tossed him about halfway across the thing, trying to give him an advantage, and then he kind of grabbed onto the pipe to kind of monkey bar his way across the rest of the way.
I'm gonna grab a pole or something that's sitting on the roof, maybe a board.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. You could grab a board. What do you want to do with it?
I'm just gonna like put it across the gap and holding on to it, but to give him a little purchase with his feet, like stick it under his feet and against the wall so that he has a little something to help him hang on.
Okay, I'll tell you what. In that case, go ahead and flip a destiny point for me so that it's long enough and that the gap is small enough that you can. Here we'll do this instead because you want to use the right the right ones. Alrighty, so because we had 2 and 2, you used your light side point, so that gives me 3 now again. Woohoo!
Okay.
All right, so that's great. So then, yeah, what I'll say then is that kind of creates a way across, which you could potentially walk across as well, Vendry. And Arkhan, you can get another boost die on your coordination check if you want to make another one to get across.
I'm sorry, which one of us did you say?
So Arkhan still needs to make it across. He can get another boost dice. But this time, but this time he'll get that extra boost. So it'll still be against 1 red because I'm going to upgrade it again.
1 red and 1 black.
Yep, 1 red, 1 black. Yep.
And same skills and everything like that.
Same skill, but with 2 boosts. With 2 boost dice.
Okay.
Look at that. All right.
And he kind of like, Vendry's rushing over to help. They're all worried about him, and he kind of like gets back on. He's just like, I got it. I got it.
Absolutely. So.
Of course you do, sir.
If you want, I have a suggestion for that 3 advantage.
Yeah, I'll do it.
You would notice, if you want to do this, you would notice from your sort of elevated position that the governor is heading right towards almost like a block. Like they're going to run into a big crowd of people that's going to slow them down. And that might give you the time that you need to get there. But you got 2 more gaps that you're going to have to cross if you want to stay on the roof.
Yeah, and so when he kind of jumps down like from the other side, he turns back. He goes, "Well, what are you waiting for? We got 2 gaps to cover, and we can have them pinned."
Awesome. And yeah, Kale and Vendry, I mean, you guys can just run across that board if you want to. There's no...
Sweet.
Yeah, no real danger there.
Okay.
All right, perfect. So you guys do that, and so then, yeah, you kind of... Oh, go ahead.
Well, when we get to the other side, can I say, you 2, grab the board. Bring it with us. We can use it on the other 2.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes, sir. I'll grab it.
Yeah, I'll grab the back end, and we can both just carry it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it's really long, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So you guys carry it. It slows you down a little bit because obviously you don't want to drop it, and it's a little awkward. But so it slows you down a little bit, and then you kind of get to the next gap, and you kind of pop the thing down and shove it across. You guys run across, and Arkhan, you would again kind of do a scan, and you would see that, yep, in fact, the commander is now basically not the commander, sorry, the governor and his entourage are basically now kind of stuck a little bit, but you can see his entourage is pretty like efficient at starting to clear this crowd out of the way. So you guys are definitely going to have to pick up some speed if you want to make it here with any kind of advantage.
Can you just orientate me really quick? Like, we're running across the buildings.
Yeah.
We're point A. We're running across the buildings, which will eventually put us at point B. And the governor is C. Where is C relative to B? Like, how far apart are they?
Yeah, so like so you're on the top of the building. If you were looking straight ahead, kind of across the buildings, you can kind of see down into the warehouse district. The governor is on the ground level, in the streets, on the warehouse district, probably several dozen meters ahead of you.
Okay.
And so ahead of him is this big crowd of people that's all trying to move, and so you're kind of coming in behind him.
Okay, so basically everything is almost aligned now at this point. He's coming like directly in front of where we're going to be, and the crowd's coming directly in front of him, and we're going to try to get up to him. Okay, got it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So yeah, seeing his guys like just kind of like whacking away, just like using brute muscle to move the crowd around, he's going to say, "Leave the board. I'll have to jump."
Okay, sir.
And we'll just
set it down.
Run.
Or leave it.
Alrighty.
We're going to try to get that advantage here. We're going to give everything we got.
Yeah, for sure. So, go ahead and make athletics rolls for me. And again, I'm going to upgrade it. So, we're going to do, because you're not using the board, you're kind of, we're going to do that same 1 red. You still have 1 black as well. Because you're in a hurry, you're trying to make it, you're a little bit stressed.
Quick thing, since we got destiny points, what are the chances that I can use one to remember that in my backpack I had like a little grappling gun and I can toss it to Arkhan?
I think that's a really good opportunity, a really good chance that you could remember that in the heat of the moment. So yeah, if you want to flip that, go for it.
Okay, so you're just going to toss me the gun and I'll like fire it?
Like
awesome.
A grappling gun so you can get across and I don't have to touch you like a midget.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
So that's perfect. So what I'll say then in that case is you're still going to need to make an athletics roll for me, but let's add 2 boost dice to that.
Okay, so roll my athletics and add 2 boost. And that's against red and a black again?
Yep.
Yeesh.
Ouch.
All right. So, I think this is what happens. I think you are running, you grab the grapple gun from Kale, and you fire the grapple gun, and it doesn't like connect, like it bounces off, like it was just for whatever reason it was a bad shot or whatever, and it didn't get the kind of firm connection that it needs. And so as you're trying to pull on it to kind of make your way across, it gives way, right? And you almost stumble. And what I'm going to say actually is that you manage to make it again almost all the way over, except that you come up just short. And what ends up happening is you start to fall down into the alleyway, but you stop short right as you realize the grappling hook actually catches on the lip of the other building, and you're holding onto it. And so you're dangling probably 3 feet above the ground at this point, between the one building and the other.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of frantically be digging around my waist, and I'm going to pull out a combat knife, and I'm going to use... Oh, wait, no, wait. So, I'm just holding the gun then, right?
Right, yeah, because essentially you would have fallen all the way down into the alleyway, but because you have the gun in your hand, you're holding onto it, and it stopped you from falling the whole way.
Yeah, so, okay, so I'm just dangling, and I look down, and I'm kind of like realizing that I'm only 3 feet, which is actually my whole height.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
So that's actually like 6 feet for most people.
Yep.
But that's okay. So he'll just drop and look up. Does he see his crew up there at the ledge?
Yeah, I assume
Definitely.
you guys would have kind of run over, like, oh my god, you know.
Because if he sees them, he's going to say, "Go to the other side of the roof. Take the shot."
All right, so I'll go ahead and make my roll then. I guess I have to jump.
All right, and so I think it's more fun to upgrade it. So 1 red, 1 black.
1 red, 1 black. I'm gonna flip a light side to upgrade my roll.
Okay. Yep.
And here we go. Ooh, 2 advantages.
Okay. So what I'll say then at this point is that you are going to attempt the jump. You also don't make the jump for whatever reason. Maybe it's slippery because of all of the fog and whatever. You can't make the jump, but you are able to kind of also sort of grab onto like a pipe or like a maybe even, you know, like one of those like fire escape things that, you know, kind of pulls down, and you kind of grab onto it, you know, and fall down. So you're on the bottom level as well, Vendry. But you managed to avoid any kind of injury or anything like that.
Okay. So am I as close to the ground as the commander was?
Yeah, you're on the ground at this point. You would have made it. I assume the commander would be as well. So you guys are probably like real close to each other.
So, and have you already taken off?
No, I don't think so. Like, I would have at least waited to see if you guys made the jump or not.
Sorry, sir. That jump is just harder than it looks.
Yeah, you don't got to tell me. And I think he looks up again.
Yeah.
Yep, to see if Kale is going to attempt the jump, or if maybe he's going to be like, well, the rest of my guys are down in the alley.
I think Kale's going to go for it, but if it's all right, I want to use a destiny point so that way I can do like a running start and then jump and like, you know, have my hands out so that way I can reach the railing.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you can do then in that case, you flip the destiny point, and then what is your what's your dice pool for your athletics? Is it just green, or do you have any yellow?
Yellow and 2 greens.
Okay, so in this case, what you can do is roll 2 yellow and 1 green. And I'm going to upgrade it again, so you still have that red and a black for the negative side of the destiny pool. Wow. All right. So
boom.
Yeah, so you managed to definitely make it across. With that 2 threat, I am going to have you take 1 point of strain. So you can just kind of mark that off on your sheet. You count up in this system, so if you were to exceed your strain threshold, you would go unconscious. But right now you would have no strain, so now you take 1. But yeah, you managed to jump across this thing, you know, and it was like, that's not that hard. What are you talking about, right? And you managed to make it over to another side. Now there was one more gap that you were going to have, but you do still have visual on the governor, and you realize that him and his men are nearly clear. Also, you guys do have a comm system that you can communicate with each other. So if you need to communicate that way, you can do so, at least for right now.
And now this is a little meta, but I think the commander would know. Kale, what kind of guns are you carrying with you right now?
Oh, yeah, you'd know what we all have.
Yeah.
I have a heavy blade rifle.
Rifle. Oh, okay, nice. So that has a fairly good range, right? Long?
Yeah, it can shoot long range.
Okay. I'm going to go on the comm and say, we're going to proceed on foot. Jump another roof if you have to, but take that shot as soon as you can. Just slow him down till we can get there.
He would reply like Roger, and he would like start making his way to the other jump point.
All right. Perfect. And so as you are making your way. You're running. You're now into the warehouse district, all of you. Kale, you're running across this long warehouse, and you can hear down below you the sounds of anger and yelling and blaster fire and all kinds of stuff. It sounds like something bad is going on down on the streets below you. But you're making your way. You're making your way. You're running. You're getting kind of close to the end there. And we're gonna cut down to the alley for a minute. Vendry and Arkhan, you're kind of running your way, kind of following the direction that you kind of know where to go. And you're starting to hear this as well. And what ends up happening is you kind of make your way out of the alley, and then you realize that like this big crush of rioting people, Toydarians, humans, aliens of all sorts. Basically, it's this big riot at this point because they are essentially squaring off against stormtroopers, against Imperial troops who are trying to essentially detain them. And so this is bad. Like, this is a situation that could turn violent for you guys very quickly, and it is a powder keg about to blow. Unfortunately, you cannot make out the governor in all this mess. You're kind of stuck in this alleyway right now. But there are kind of pipes and catwalks and ladders all over the place. Like this is, if you wanted to try to get more elevation, you could certainly try to do so. And it wouldn't be that hard.
Of all the Criffin times to grow a pair and start a rebellion, now is not the time. And he's looking around as he's screaming that. He kind of sees what you were kind of talking about. He thinks, can we get back up? Do we go through? And now you said there are stormtroopers actively like in here, or these guys are like forming up like as like a pickaxe and rally sort of thing, like charging the stormtroopers. Like,
yeah, kind of both. Here? It's like turning into a melee at this point. It's like because if you imagine a bunch of like smugglers and bounty hunters and slavers and just all these the kind of people that would hang out in Hutt Space, wanting to get back to their ships. They want to get out of here. They don't want to be detained. And the Empire is like, oh hell no, there was a bombing. Everybody's a suspect. Stay here, right? And so they're getting mad, and these are the kind of people that don't like the Empire telling them what to do, especially in a space that's generally known to be sort of neutral. So yeah, it's getting dangerous. So it's the crowd is kind of moving and shifting. Sometimes a stormtrooper will get thrown, and you start getting kicked by a bunch of guys. Other times you'll see butt of a rifle will knock out like a smuggler or somebody down near you. But you guys right now are kind of, you're in this alleyway. If you were to try to get out, that could be bad, but right now you're relatively safe from the crowd. Nobody's yet pushed into the alley.
All right, well, the commander's looking around. He sees he can climb back up, but there's no time. The governor's already passed that building. All you could hope to do is get a shot from there. And so Kale
can get the height. We can get the shot, if you don't mind my saying so.
But Kale can take the shot. Who's going to finish the job? You know what? We got to trust him. We got to get there on foot. And he's going to take out his heavy blaster pistol, and he's going to start... Well, first, he's going to look back to Vendry and say, it's going to get hairy. If you want, get up top and back up Kale. I'm going to try to clear the road. And he's going to turn back and start walking with the pistol. And he's what he's essentially going to try to do is, this seems like a powder keg about to explode. Yep. He's going to ignite it by firing a heavy blaster over the head of the crowd and trying to get everyone to just stampede.
Oh, nice. Right. I'm gonna stick with the I'll stick with you, sir. Yeah, and so I'm gonna follow along with him. I can't, I only have a rifle, so, but I pull out my combat knife, have it, well, I don't pull it out. I have it at the ready if I need to defend myself, but I just stay close to him and try to weave in and out of the crowd.
Okay. And you start to try to weave in and out of the crowd. Arkhan fires off his rifle, and the crowd definitely starts to riot at this point. Like, it's, they disperse a little bit because here's a Bothan firing a gun, but nobody knows where the shot came from, right? And so the stormtroopers start firing. The smugglers and the crowd starts firing back. The Toydarian Royal Guard is trying to maintain order here. Stop, everybody stop firing, whatever. And yeah, it's complete chaos. And you can start to hear off in the distance the sound, very distinct. You guys would know it well. It's this and this clanking of metal on stone and all that. And then we'll cut back up to the roof. Kale, you are just about to your final jump. And so you'll have to make one final jump, again, either with athletics or with coordination if you want to kind of make your way across with some kind of pipe or whatever. And it will be still against one red and one black.
Can I use Destiny Point and get ready like I did last time where I, ran first and then,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can basically use the Destiny Point to upgrade it again.
All right, and what am I doing dice-wise?
Yep, so it sounds like you'll probably still do your 2 yellow and 1 green for your positive pool, and then you'll have 1 red and 1 black. All right. Wow. Yeah. So you got a man. Jose's rolling well today. You got a success and an advantage. Okay. So what we'll say is on your next roll, you get a boost dice, whatever that will be. And yes, you managed to kind of finally make your way across. You jump across onto the final warehouse. And on this one, there's it's like this sort of scaffolding or whatever. Like, it looks like they were going to build an addition, but they never did finish it. And so you can, if you wanted to, you could kind of climb up a little bit to get a higher vantage point. If you do so,
I like the sound of that.
Yeah. So you got this higher vantage point, and you're looking down onto this just chaotic scene, and you can see off in the distance 2 ATST scout walkers starting to make their way towards this area, and the governor is trying to, and his entourage are actually trying to make their way out, but the entourage actually is basically circled around him, and they're basically firing as the crowd's getting closer. Sometimes the crowd's getting pushed into them. Sometimes they're trying to attack them, right? And they're just pew, 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 trying to basically clear any space that they can. But for the moment, their progress has been impeded. You're too far out at this point to be able to make a shot with your rifle, but you could definitely, this is a good recon spot. You could probably, if you wanted to, use this as a way to maybe direct your companions if they can figure a way to get out of this alley that they're in. Or to get out, no, they're not in the alley anymore. If they can figure out a way to get out of the sort of rioting crowd.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
I would send a comlink message to the commander and let him know what's going on, and then I would ask him if it'd be all right for me to do something stupid. See what he says.
This whole thing's been stupid. Kale.
Stupid, sir.
Kale, you got permission to do anything that pops into that bright head of yours.
Well, Kel's gonna grab some grenades and get ready to toss it near the where they're all huddle at. See what happens. The governor side, anyway.
So you wouldn't be able to throw a grenade that far. They're on the far end of the square from you. Grenades are short range. Your rifle is long range, and you would be at the very extreme range of your rifle. So if you wanted to throw a grenade, let's say into the crowd, you could do that. Or you could try to move position. If you want to try to get to a place where you could fire on them, you think you probably have a reasonable chance of making it over to like a closer spot that you might be able to get a shot at them.
Yeah, I'll do that because I was thinking I could throw a grenade and maybe thin out some of the stormtroopers, but if I can't even like reach, there's no point.
Yeah, like if you want to just throw the grenade at the stormtroopers, not necessarily the governor's entourage, yeah, you can definitely do that. You would basically just be like dropping it on their head in a sense. But if you're specifically trying to target the governor's entourage, they're a little too far out of range.
You know what? For the sake of being stupid, let's drop the grenade on the stormtrooper.
Okay, great. Right. So in this case, then you're going to use ranged light. So whatever the green and yellow dice are for ranged light, and you're at short range, so you have just one purple as your difficulty. And I don't think I'm going to upgrade it this time.
Whoa.
Oh, baby, got a triumph.
Whoa.
All right. So, are you using a frag grenade? Yeah, I think it is a frag grenade.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what's the damage on the grenade?
Actually, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
The AP grenades, are those grenades that electrocute people in chat?
No, that's an armor-piercing grenade. The AP grenade is typically what they use to take out Imperial walkers.
Okay, well, that sucks. I was going to say, if I had one of those electric ones, I would drop it so that way they would get shocked and maybe they could grab their armor, but I guess can't do that.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So do you have a frag grenade as well, or did you throw the AP grenade down there?
No, I dropped the frag grenade.
Okay, gotcha.
I want to make a big boom.
Yeah, for sure. What's the damage on that?
Should be
8. Yeah, okay, I thought so.
Plus 1 damage per uncancelled success.
Yep, which is 10. So that's enough to take out 2 guys by itself. The Triumph. Why don't we say the Triumph can activate the blast? Yeah, this is enough to basically take down the whole squad. They're not all dead. Most of them are dead. There's a couple of them that are still alive, but the whole kind of squad, that immediate one anyway, is down. And so, yeah, so all of a sudden, right, and the grenade goes off. The stormtroopers go down, and the crowd just surges at this point. They're just like, and they start surging forward, trying to get out of here. The stormtroopers are getting trampled, and Arkhan and Vendry, you guys are kind of getting carried almost by the momentum of the crowd at this point, but you can't necessarily tell where you're going because there's a big press of people. So what are you going to do?
I'm gonna, just first, I'm just gonna make sure I'm next to Vendry. You know what I mean? That we're getting pushed together.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you guys are you're managing to do that at first. Although as the crowd starts splitting off in different directions, yeah, I would imagine Vendry starts to kind of drift a little bit. Just with the momentum of the crowd. You guys can try to sort of fight your way back if you wanted to do you could do athletics. You could do even brawl
Well,
if you wanted.
We
to.
don't know if we want to go back. So actually, Commander's gonna lift up his blaster and he's gonna use his other hand to press his communicator, and he's gonna say, "Kale, look for my blaster fire. Try to get an eye on us, and give us any sort of direction you can to point us towards the governor." And he's gonna.
Yeah, he would with his comlink. I mean not comlink. With his scan goggles, he would look for the fire and try to like maneuver them around like the crowd so they can get there.
And I hope this also would help Vendry, like, keep an eye on me. I'm a tiny creature,
Right.
but the blaster fire might help you.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah,
so,
I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have a problem like noticing a rat man in like the middle of humans. No offense.
well, I
Right.
mean, there's a lot of aliens on this planet, and there is a big mass of people. But yeah, if you start sort of firing your blaster up into the air, especially from Kale's sort of perspective, he'll be able to see that for sure. But Kale, you also notice that now that the crowd is surging, the governor's entourage has been able to clear a path as well, and they start heading on again towards the starport.
Mm.
And so, Arkhan and Vendry, were you guys? So, Arkhan, you're firing your blaster, but were you trying to move?
I don't know what Vendry's thinking. I'm thinking, since we don't know if we're going in the right direction or the wrong direction,
Yeah.
we should wait until Kale tells us. Like, that's why I'm firing multiple times, because I'm hoping so he'll be able to tell what way we're going.
Yeah.
And then he could tell us, like, wrong way, go left, fight against it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. So,
Right, and I'm
Right.
using that as a beacon to try to stay with the commander.
with the commander, sure. Okay. So here's what I'll have you do. Vendry, you are getting pulled away from the commander because of the crowd. So if you want to get back close enough to Arkhan, you'll need to make either an athletics or possibly a brawl check. Just against, I'm just going to say against one purple. It's not super difficult, but
Okay.
it's just enough that you'll need to do that. And you do have one setback as well, because just the sheer size of and force of this crowd, and now the fact that they're surging is just making it a little bit harder. But Kale, you would know that Arkhan is kind of heading in the right direction. Vendry is starting to drift.
I'm sorry, did you say one purple?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. I'm drifting.
Yep. So you can't quite make it back. The press.
So I
of
look
people is
around
too
for
much.
him, and I just can't. I can see where he is, but I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I would get back in the comlink and the Arkhan know that Bender is pretty much getting veered off by like the mob and where she's at, so that way he can get to her.
Okay. Nice.
Kale, what's the 20 on the governor?
I imagine I still see the governor, right?
Yeah, I'll say that you still have eyes on the governor and well, mostly on his entourage because he's surrounded by them. But yeah, they're quickly making their way out of the square. They will be out of your range within a couple of seconds here.
Is there any chance that I can try to like switch positions to try to take a shot? Or
yeah, you want to try to take a shot at him?
yeah, can I use a point for any type of advantage? Or?
You can, yeah. So what I'm going to say at this point is they are at the very far end of your range, so you're going to have to make, it's going to be 3 purple. However, I am going to upgrade it, so it's going to be 2 purple and 1 red.
All right,
And because, and so you'll do your ranged heavy. for your positive side of the pool. And I'm going to impose a setback dice as well if you're trying to specifically fire at the governor, because he is surrounded by his entourage. And there's lots of people milling about. So that's a black dice.
And if I hit the destiny thing, does it do anything for me?
Yeah, so if you flip a destiny point, you can upgrade your positive side of the pool. So one of those green dice can turn to a yellow dice.
Okay. The whole aim thing, can I aim before I shoot, or does
Yep,
like
you can. So you can take a maneuver to aim, which will give you a blue dice.
Okay. And I can still use the destiny, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. 1 second, I'm trying to get all the dice thing going. You said 1 blue, right?
Yeah.
All right, everybody, wish me luck. Oh, I think I accidentally had the...
Oh, yeah, that's all right. You accidentally put in the force dice. We're not going to count those, but damn, look at that. 2, 3.
Way to go.
And an advantage. All right, so you don't have enough advantages to activate any weapon qualities. But, yeah, so, all right, you managed to... holy crap, fire at the governor. All right. So your weapon does what? 9 damage or 10 damage? Base. I think it does 9. Where's my thing?
9.
10 damage.
Not okay. Oh, does the on
It
Kale's sheet it
says-
says 10?
Yeah, 10 damage on
Sweet.
hit plus 1 damage per on
Yep.
cancel system.
10, 11, 12, 13. All right, so you deal 13 damage. All right. So you managed to fire at the governor, just this brilliant shot, right? And you see that plasma bolt from your gun just right, it almost goes into like slow motion, like bullet time, right through as like one of the entourage kind of moves a little bit to look and point their gun at the crowd, and another one is kind of huddling down a little bit as like a rock goes flying over his head, and just in that gap your bolt goes right through and strikes the governor right in like his chest shoulder area, right where he would have like some kind of insignia or whatever, and he goes down. He's not dead though. You can see that he's still breathing, but he definitely goes down. He's very hurt. And why don't we take that moment to just take a really quick break, and we will be back maybe in a couple of minutes. Sound good?
Perfect.
Perfect.
Awesome.
All right. Some Age of Rebellion.
Sam, are you saying anything? Because I thought I heard you talking, and then it cut out.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh,
I just said Age of Rebellion.
Okay, no, I was just worried that it was my mic. My computer froze up.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Cool. All right. So everybody's back. I'm going to take a drink of water, and then I'm going to... Oh, and I should probably turn, at least for the overlay here, turn my camera back on. I don't know why you guys can't see me in the Discord video. That's annoying.
It doesn't like us.
Yeah, we'll figure it out one day.
It's always something.
Yeah. I should have restarted my computer, but oh well.
I'm loving the game.
Yeah. What's that?
I said, by the way, I'm really loving the game.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Good.
I'm really liking the back and forward with the light side and dark side points. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're using them. Sometimes I forget about them, and sometimes whatever, and so it's really more fun when you get that back and forth because that's what they're there for. So I'm liking it a lot. However, I'm gonna bring down the hammer now because Kale revealed his position, and as he took the governor down, and his entourage kind of collapsed on him, and they're picking him up and they're trying to get him out of there. One of the ATST walkers that has now made it into the crowd. One of them is firing on the crowd. So Arkhan and Vendry, you guys will have to deal with that in just a minute. But Kale, you see one of them as your shot goes out, and then you hear this, and you kind of look out and you see one of these things kind of look up at you, and it's definitely going to fire. Now, the one thing about this, you notice that it's kind of this one's kind of rusted. Like, this looks like maybe this has been here on this planet for a while, just as part of the garrison, but hasn't really been used. It's probably been sitting for a while. So this thing doesn't look like it's in top Imperial shape, but yeah, it's going to shoot at you. So you're lucky because you've got some cover here because you're kind of hunkered down behind this thing. However, I believe, were you still up in the sort of scaffolding?
I was.
Okay, so we'll see how this goes because this could be potentially pretty bad for you. Okay, let me see. Just a minute here. Okay, so we're gonna do 1, 2, 3. He's at long range. He gets a setback because you have cover. And I don't think I don't think Kale has any defense on his sheet other than that. I don't think any of the characters do. Okay. And then
I got padded armor. I don't know the health thing.
Yeah, that gives you additional soak. So that if you take damage, you reduce the damage by your soak. But certain things, certain armors and certain weapons can give you defense. Like, for example, if you have a vibro sword or something, you can actually, I think, get 1 defense against melee because you could potentially use it to block or parry. All right, and
I don't even see a space for it.
Let's see. I'm gonna roll here. Oh yeah. All right, but I got a bunch of threats, so let me just take a look at my slightly rusted ATST walker. Okay. So here's what I'm going to say. You see this thing and fire its two, blaster bolts at you from its, its heavy cannons and, its heavy blaster cannons, right? And you actually don't directly get hit, but it does hit the scaffolding, and you actually, the scaffolding falls, and you fall down and kind of fall onto, onto your back with this debris falling on you. And actually what I'm going to say is you're going to take 5 strain damage, but you can reduce that by your soak. And so what that means is anything, whatever your soak is, you take it away from that 5, and anything else you add to your however much strain you have.
After I use the soak, does the value go away, or is that like everything?
So strain sticks with you until you have an opportunity to rest. Until you have an opportunity to basically, mechanically, what you would do is if you have a few minutes, it's kind of like a short rest in D&D. If you have a few minutes, you can make a discipline roll, but I will guarantee you're not going to have time for that.
Oh no, I was talking about the soak value. Like once I use
the soak value. No. Soak is always there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a resource that you use up.
Cool. Well, I got 5, so I guess I'm good.
Okay, yeah. So you managed to not take any damage then as this thing hits you and you fall down, but you're covered now kind of in this debris. So it's going to take a little while to get up, but your position is also known. And we'll cut back down to Arkhan and Vendry. Vendry, you're getting pulled by the crowd, but at this point, the crowd sort of starts to disperse because there's blaster fire, pew, 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 kind of blasting down into the crowd from this other walker. And you've kind of lost sight of Arkhan at this point. But you also can kind of see through the crowd now. There's a little bit of a break in the crowd, and you can see the governor's entourage, and you can see that they basically have him kind of picked up and on, like kind of almost propped up on a shoulder, and he's like limping along. They're a lot slower movement now. They're at about long range from you. But yeah, but there's all these people in the way, and you've got that, that walker. So, oh, you're muted.
All right. Well, I'm going to climb up on the building closest to me and line up a shot and try to finish him off.
Okay, so it would be a maneuver to climb up. It would be another maneuver to aim. I assume you're going to aim. So you'll have to take two strain to do that, and then you can make your shot. Now, I'm going to say, so you definitely get your boost dice for the aim. You're going to have a setback dice because that walker is like blasting shit all around you.
Yeah.
Right? So there's all kinds of distraction. You're at long range, so that's normally 3 purple, but I'm going to upgrade it. So I
have a long range gun.
Yep, but it's still long range. What that means is that's as far as you can fire. But long range is still always 3 purple. But in this case, because I upgraded it, it's 2 purple and 1 red.
Okay, I'm going to flip a light side point then and upgrade my die. All right. Oh, jeez. That is a despair. And 2 advantages.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the fun part of the game for me. So the despair is the worst roll you can get. Well, I mean, multiple despairs, I guess, is worse. But despair is really bad, and that's why upgrading checks is great. So, you fire. And as you do so, your shot kind of goes wild because the walker that is in kind of down, firing into the crowd. As you're turning, as you've climbed up into the building, you were spotted, and it turns and it fires at you, right? And it basically blows these holes in the duracrete all around you, and the little like ladder or whatever that you use to climb up comes loose, and you fall down into the crowd. And you manage to not take any damage because you land on some people, but you're basically like prone almost right at the foot of this walker. And you've got like these guys like kind of trying to get up and throw you off them and try to get out of the way. But you're sort of prone at this point. However, you do have a couple of advantage. Did you have any ideas for how you wanted to use that?
Yeah, I think, okay, so the advantage, let's see. No.
Okay. Well, you can always clear a point of strain, if you want.
Yeah, but
or you can use it for a boost on your next action.
Yeah. Shoot, I don't know. Anybody have Rory or Jose have an idea?
If you have strain, I might clear it, because if it spotted you, you're probably going to take another shot real soon.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I guess I'll do that. I'll take... Is it one point of strain per advantage?
I think... I actually am not clear on that, but I typically rule that yes, it is.
Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah. All right. And I'm going to be scrambling out of there.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, you can scramble out of there for sure. If, let's see. Yeah. Okay. So right now you're kind of clearing your strain, but you're kind of, you're still like all on the ground. The walker is basically like standing right there, and it's like swiveling back down. Arkhan, you can't really see what's going on, but you do notice that there was a shot up where you presume Kale was, and there's been this walker firing into the crowd. So what is it that you're going to try to do at this point?
The walker that came into the crowd, that's definitely my closest concern. And I'm going to kind of pull my like leather cloak, trench coat kind of thing back, and reach in and grab an armor piercing grenade. And I'm going to try to kind of move in a little bit closer, so I'm in the right range. I know the crowd's thinning out, but I'm gonna like wait for a moment, just try to make sure I have a clear path, and I'm gonna try to chuck this grenade up towards the base of the legs and the head.
Okay.
Of like one of these walkers where that joint is.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just take a look here. Okay. Yep. Go ahead. So that'll just be your ranged light. And you're within short range, so it's just normally 1 purple, but I'm going to upgrade it to 1 red. And you've got a pretty good shot here at him, so I'm not going to give any setback right now.
Oh, sorry. I forgot I had to push to talk. Just 1 red, no purples, right?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to flip a light side point. I would love to say that like I've kind of modified this grenade a little bit.
Okay.
I kind of like Saving Private Ryan style, like maybe have like a sock like soaked in something sticky that's kind of like wrapped around this thing, so that it hopefully won't fall to the ground and take Vendry out when I throw it. So hopefully that'll help me land this.
Okay. Great. I think that's fine.
The thinking. That's cool.
Oh, all right. Okay. Does armor piercing, does the AP grenade have any weapon qualities attached to it?
It does. On 3 advantages, it gets a critical injury.
And look at that.
And
you happen to have 3 advantages.
So it has a Pierce 3 as well. The target's soak value is reduced by 3 against this attack.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah, that's the other aspect of it. That's why it's, I guess, armor piercing.
Yeah. Damn. All right. And what's the base damage on it?
16 plus 1 per.
Perfect. All right. Holy moly. So describe what it looks like as you basically blow this thing to smithereens.
Yeah, so I don't know what was going on with Vendry. I'm super low to the ground, and my field of vision is not great. So, you know, this walker comes in, you can't miss that. And it's just... And I hear like an not knowing it's Vendry's as she falls, I imagine, from the ladder. And I'm just, oh, that's what I wrapped this sock around this for. Like, this is exactly what this is for. And I weasel my way through a bit of the crowd, and with my snout, I kind of brush, like, there's like a clip on the top. I kind of, when you flip it, it starts beep, beep, beep. And I wait like 4 beeps, and then I throw as hard as I can, and it kind of sticks right at that joint. And then another beep, beep, and like the side of what would be like a walker's head kind of like burst open, and you can almost like see the people inside for a moment as all the mechanical mechanisms that are keeping this thing a hold like kind of fail, and you hear like loud blaring as it hits the ground. Like a dust storm goes up.
Awesome.
Oh, that is awesome.
Vendry, I'm going to have you make a either athletics or coordination roll for me.
Okay.
And it's going to be against, what is this? Hold on. 1 purple and 1 red.
Okay. Ah.
Oh, wow. Nice. All right. You managed to actually go ahead and describe to me what it looks like as you sort of managed to avoid some of the shrapnel and also the walker basically falling down on you.
So as the grenade connects with the walker, I kind of hear that click or that, kind of clunk as it hits, and I immediately like spring to my feet and take a rolling dive forward and start moving away, and kind of dive for cover and cover myself up as it explodes, kind of shielding myself from the worst of the fallout.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. And Kale, you hear this great big explosion, right? And one of the walkers was taken out. Now, unfortunately, the other one is still there, trained on your position, and you're covered in all of this rubble. You can manage to get out of the rubble, but there's like a little lip on the wall that's probably about 1 meter high. That right now, because you're basically on your back, you've essentially got total cover from this walker. But if you were to pop up or get up, you're going to be exposed and it could possibly see you. Not that that's a problem necessarily, but just to set up that scene. So what are you going to do at this point?
So since it's a railing, right? Could I maybe roll over and try to stick my gun out where I can shoot at it if I use like a destiny point, or?
Yeah, well, so yeah, I mean, you could definitely do that. What I'm going to say, though, is that if you're basically firing blind, that is going to increase the difficulty Also, it's typically pretty hard to take out a walker just with your blaster. But if you've got an AP grenade, you could potentially use that.
Sure. Well, I'll try that out. If it works for the commander, maybe it'll work.
All right. Are you going to try to get up? And
you know what? I'll get up because
yep. Okay.
yeah, I'll get up and take aim.
So actually, what I'm gonna do, because I've been doing initiative, all narrative at this point, but I think in this case I'm gonna have you roll initiative, Kale. So what you'll do in that case is you'll roll just a straight vigilance check for me. So if you look down on your vigilant or on your sheet, whatever is in vigilance, you just roll the positive dice, and I'm gonna roll on mine.
Oh, so roll 3 green?
Yep. Okay.
I was having the wrong one.
Oh, nice. All right. So you get to act first because you have more successes. Woohoo! So you managed to pop up, and you're going to get an opportunity. So you would use a maneuver to pop up from a prone position. If you want to take a second to try to aim with your grenade, you can do that to get a boost dice.
Yeah, so I mean, my idea was aim, throw the grenade, and then take the 2 strain to take cover after that, so that way I don't get shot.
So if you want to aim, so you have to take one maneuver to go from prone to get up. Okay?
I got you.
Yeah,
Okay,
yep.
I got
so
you.
if you want to,
yeah, I'll use the
aim,
second one time then.
Okay, gotcha, perfect. Yep. So so you'll do your ranged light. It's going to be against in this case it's going to be it's still short range. But
You said range light, right?
What's that?
Short range light, you said?
Yep. But it's going to be against 1 red.
Okay. And if I use the destiny point, what do I do?
So you can upgrade one of your greens to a yellow.
All the greens or just
no,
one?
just one. Yep. Well, you could. I mean, you could potentially use all 3 of those destiny points if you wanted to. But
no, I'm not gonna be that greedy.
Yeah, I don't mind if you give them all to me.
I'm pretty sure you wouldn't.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it then.
Yep.
Oh crap! 1 second. For some reason, I deleted my stuff. So you said 1 red.
So 1 red. Yep. Is the difficulty on this one, and then you get a blue for your aim maneuver.
Okay.
Nice. Yep. All right. So you take this thing out as well. If you want, kind of go ahead and describe what that scene looks like.
Oh, it's dead.
Oh yeah, those armor-piercing grenades. These aren't the greatest walkers. So yeah, the AP grenade is enough to take them out.
I think him being in the military and everything, he would like lick his thumb and go like this and trying to like aim at it. I mean, he didn't think it was gonna hit, but he just aimed and like threw it. And when it landed, it got in one of like the holes since the thing is all rusted and messed up, and it just got in there and exploded.
Nice. That's awesome. And so these grenades going off and the walkers blowing up, right? You've definitely taken these out. I mean, Saw Gerrera would be proud. However, the governor and his entourage have exited the scene. You can't see them anymore. Right now, though, there aren't any stormtroopers in any position to be able to fight. So right now, you don't have any active opposition. Kale, you're still up on the roof, and Arkhan and Vendry are still down on the ground, but the crowd is still kind of there, right? Everybody's trying to kind of get out of there. Vendry, you would have noticed that they were probably at 9 o'clock. They were heading out at your like 9 o'clock. So You know, probably 10 o'clock for Arkhan, or 11 o'clock for Arkhan, but
okay. That makes it hard because I know Kale's position, but I don't necessarily know Arkhan's at this point, right?
Right.
But we all know Kale's position. So you said 11 for his?
No, sorry, for Arkhan. Kale was basically lined right up on this thing before, so like he would have swiveled to fire at the or to throw the grenade at the walker. But then if he were to have turned back, so yeah, it's probably the same for you as for him. It's probably at 9 o'clock for him as well.
So I open up the comm. Gentlemen, last eye I had on the governor, he was at 9 o'clock. Relative to Kale's position. So we all know where he is. And I start heading that way.
Okay.
Trying to work my way around the crowd.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, Arkhan, you would have heard that as well. Vendry kind of calling out a position. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, is it possible that I even see her, perhaps, with the crowd thinning out and having just... I imagine she was nearby when I exploded the walker, so I might have caught a glimpse of her.
Yeah, I think you would. I think that's reasonable because, especially now that she gets up and is walking away, and you probably would have had eyes on the walker, so yeah.
Yeah, I figure I kind of actually see her like pressing the comm, and I'm like, oh, look, it's like when you're talking to somebody on the phone in the other room and you see them and you're like, oh, I can see you. Yep. And I would kind of start scooting over towards Vendry, and when basically she finished her communication, I would just put my hand up to it and say, and can we get a status update, Kale? Are you alive?
Yeah, he would let him know about like he hit the governor pretty much like limping him away, and he would let him know where they went so that way they can start heading that way. He can try to come down and catch up to them, but he would be like, yeah, I hit him, but I didn't kill him, but we'll get him.
He's hit? I gotta make a judgment call here, team. Now's about the last chance we're gonna get out of here. He could be dying for all we know.
Yeah. And so that's a good point. He could be dying, but you don't necessarily know where he is, and Vendry's heading on. So yeah, Commander, are you gonna push forward?
I know that I do know he was on his feet. So Commander, he was on his feet. He was injured but up when they left the square, but they were moving pretty slow. I think we can catch him. If that's what you want us to do, sir.
Blast. Duty first. Saw Gerrera will be proud. Let's go. So wait, will we have to go past... Oh, wait, actually, I'm sorry. So Vendry's already moving out. So in that case, then, I was mostly just communicating to Kale, and I imagine pretty much the whole time I'm actually working my way over towards Vendry, kind of intersecting her path, and then falling in line with her.
Perfect. Okay. And Kale, you could potentially, there's like a ladder or something, like you could, or maybe the debris from that, like, big scaffolding, like kind of fell over the thing. So you could just like sort of cool guy, like slide down, the pole or whatever, down to the first level if you want to.
If I use a point, what are the chances that I can take like my gun and put it on top of like a cable and just slide down like a power cord and shit?
Yeah, you don't need to use a destiny point for that. You can just do that. That's cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, for sure. So he comes kind of sliding down, holding his, his rifle above him, kind of zipline style, and kind of tumbles down. And I would imagine like right next to you guys, and it's sort of like that cinematic moment, right? For a moment where it's like all of a sudden he's there, and you're like, whoa, and then he's like, hey guys, or whatever.
I think he would probably like pat the commander in the back, and he'd be like, "Woo, this is better than drugs."
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I know. Yeah, Rory, this is terrible that we don't have the ability to play music right now, because I don't think I can do it in this type of video chat.
I tumble for you.
Yep. But awesome. So now here's the thing. You start heading out. You guys have traversed a fair distance through the warehouse district at this point. But the thing that you're noticing with more and more frequency at this point is that you're seeing less and less stormtroopers, but you're seeing a lot more of the Toydarian security, the Toydarian Royal Guards and their security. And actually, at one point, you're probably a few blocks away from the spaceport at this point. You have not yet seen the governor, but you and a small group of other people are basically stopped by a group of Toydarian guards. They basically are like, something along the lines of like, you must stop, security alert. We must detain everyone, blah, 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 the whole thing. And the crowd is getting agitated at this point. So what are you guys going to do? Oh, and by the way, if you're obvious about holding your weapon, like these guys are armed, so if you're obvious about holding like big blaster rifles, you would know, because you guys have been on planet for a while, you would have known to kind of keep those on the down low around the security, because they will definitely question you if they see those, because that's military grade hardware.
And so we're a couple blocks away. So like, there's literally no time. Like, if they're not at the spaceport already, they're obviously ahead of us, and there's not much time to catch them. Is that correct?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like, this is the last thing you need.
Okay. The commander is going to, like, he's going to put himself out in front to talk to the Toydarian guards, and he's going to say, "We have to get past. We have no time for this."
And the Toydarian looks back to you and says, No, I think you must make the time for this.
Listen, let me show you my credentials. And he reaches into his jacket and where are they? And he's gonna grab one of his frag grenades, and he's gonna pull it out, and he's gonna flip it as it comes out. But it has a pin press on it, so his fingers pressed in on this like large button on this frag grenade, and he just kind of holds it up, and he says, "I don't think any of us have much time for this right now."
Oh man, you pull out a frag grenade. You know what that means?
I don't. I really don't. I'm hoping it means that we get by this guy, but I really don't know what it means.
Well, it's not just one guy. It's like several of them.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But, and actually, you know what? I'm sorry if I can amend this a little bit. As I'm holding this one out, I'm reaching in to grab my second frag grenade out, and I'm pressing it with my other finger, and I end up with both hands out. And I'm walking, like I'm trying to be in the middle of them.
All right. I think I'm going to have you make a coercion check for me. I'm going to give you 2 boost dice, one for the grenade and one because of the fact that there's a hostile crowd here. Let me just take a look at a couple of things here. Oh, shit. This is not going to be easy, though. These guys are no joke. This is going to be against 3 red. And okay. Wait a minute. Let's see. Yeah, against 3 red. Oh, damn. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, no. Sorry, I saw Jose's roll from before. I thought that was your roll. I was like, what?
All right, I think this is right. You said 2 boost, right?
Yep.
Okay. Coercion. Yes, coercion.
Yep.
Okay. Oh no. This was. I am sorry, team. This was not the plan.
So, holy crap. Okay.
This is so bad.
Yeah, I gotta think for a minute. A triumph,
So
2
bad.
failures, and 2 advantages.
No triumph.
No,
That's
sorry,
a,
despair. It's a triumph for me.
Despair. Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
triumph for you.
It's
Yeah,
a
okay.
triumph for me, kind of. No, you're right. So, all right. Oh, geez, what do I want to do here? All right, this is what I think I'm going to do.
For anybody listening, there is no triumph. There's nothing good here. There's 2 advantages, maybe. That's kind of it.
Yeah. It's not going to be a triumphant moment. Okay. You see the one kind of that was talking kind of flutter back a little bit, right? Because you pull out this grenade, but you can see the others immediately start to, they flip a switch on their rifles and they all point them at you. And this like blue, light from 3 guns comes and they hit you with a stun setting. And it's 3 blasts. They stun you. Arkhan goes down. He is currently unconscious.
What happens with the grenades?
Well, did you arm it or did you just pull it out?
No, they were armed. I had my fingers pressed. They were armed.
I'll tell you what. If you want to use that advantage to say that you kind of your hands like clasp over them or whatever, like maybe when the stun blast hits you, it like like the sort of thing that would happen if you grab onto a electric fence, like you just can't let go. Maybe that's what happened, and so like you're not letting go of the little thing to make them explode. You could do that if you want.
Okay, I'm going to suggest something.
Okay.
Let me know what you think.
Yep.
Just double checking. This is a one shot, right?
Yep.
Okay. Just making sure. Could I possibly realize at the last second that this is not going to go the way I had hoped? And can I kind of like 2 things, like make sure that I fall on top of these, and 2, look back at my team and say, "Flee, you fools."
Yes, you can do that. And then there's chunks of bloody Bothan everywhere.
Is there at least a good distraction from my team?
Sure. I think that that's fair enough. I think that if you guys want to, they would have backed off. They're all sort of focused right on Arkhan and on this whole thing. So if you wanted to make a run for it, I think you certainly could. I think that what I'm going to ask though is that you make a athletics check for me. But it's going to be fairly easy. It's going to just be against 2 purple because the grenades have they backed off as soon as those grenades exploded. Actually, I'll say against 1 purple. So just go ahead and roll athletics just against 1 purple for me. As your commander, right before he gets stunned, manages to turn his body and absorb the grenade blasts. All right. So Kale starts running fast as you can through the crowd, trying to get there. You do take 1 point of strain for that threat. Vendry, however, I think maybe you're a little bit more affected. You didn't you guys have seen some really bad stuff. You knew the stakes of this mission, and yet your commander going out in that way, in that unexpected manner, you were here to fight Imperials. You weren't here to fight Toydarians. And so I think that maybe that affected you. And unfortunately, you weren't able to quite get that far. The Toydarians start to say, "Hey, stop! What are you doing? Do not run from us! Get back here! Set the weapons to stun! Get them!" And but you do have 2 advantages. Do you have any idea of how you would like to use those?
I grab a pedestrian. No, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Yeah, you can. You totally can. You guys are partisans. You are not. You're not. You're not nice rebels here. Well, you can't. Maybe you are.
Okay, I know. One of the guys was coming around trying to flank us, and I see him as I turn around, and I grab him and spin him around so that he's in the line of fire instead of me.
Okay. You can do that. And so, Kale, you have a decision to make here, because Vendry has done this thing, right? And you have an opportunity to get out of this, to get out of here, right? You might be able to go and find the governor, or you could turn and help Vendry. What do you want to do?
So she's down pretty much, right?
Well, no, not necessarily. She grabbed somebody in the crowd and is kind of trying to use them as like a human shield. But she's not. She doesn't have a lot of like.
I think being a soldier is, the whole don't leave the man behind thing, type thing. Right. He's gonna run and drag her while he's shooting at them, like suppressive fire, while he's just dragging her and try to get behind cover.
Nice. Okay. I'll tell you what. Then in that case, go ahead and make your ranged heavy for me. I am going to say that this is going to be, they would be at medium range, so it was going to be normally 2. Normally 2, but I am going to give you 1 setback because you're essentially pulling her. I'm also going to increase it. So you're going to look at 1... Sorry, upgrade it. So you're gonna look at 1 purple, 1 red, and 1 black for the negative dice pool.
You said heavy attack?
Yeah, ranged heavy. Yep. So the same one that you've been using when you fire your blaster.
All right, which one?
Oh my god. Look at that. Damn.
Where was that?
The sad thing is, I can't tell if it's good or not because I don't know what the hell the dice do.
Yeah, so those stars, those are successes. So that's really good. Yeah.
Where was that?
Oh, sorry. Okay. I didn't. Yeah. So those stars, you scored 5 successes. You did get 2 threats though. And so I am going to pile on 2 more strain for you here.
2 strain.
Yep. So normally I don't like to use threats for strain, but in this one I was going into that with that intention because I think it makes the most sense. So
you said 3 strain?
2 strain.
Good.
Sorry. Yep. All right. Let me take a look. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, so you managed to take one of them out. You just like, right, and just perfect, right through the eye. One falls. The other 2 kind of fall back a little bit, but your movement is definitely slowed now. Now, Vendry, do you let go of your meat shield there, or are you going to hang on? You're still muted.
I think at that point, I'm going to take advantage of what I hope is a distraction and let go of the meat shield, but I'm going to shove it at the crowd of guards, and then turn and
book it.
I guess.
Okay. So I'll tell you what, in this case, go ahead and make an athletics check for me. You're going to have a setback dice because you were essentially like slowed. Your position was slowed anyway, but I will give you a boost dice because you threw the meat shield or shoved the meat shield at them. Just a standard 2 purple.
Okay. 2 purple and a red.
Yeah, actually, and you know what? Take another boost dice because the fact that Kale like blasted the one guy and they're definitely like distracted at this point.
Sweet.
Okay.
Oh,
fantastic.
Actually, yeah.
Perfect.
I think as I run by too, I think I say, "Let's go now."
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like,
yeah, let's get out of here. Yeah, so you manage to kind of get out of the scene. The Toydarian Royal Guard is distracted enough. One of their members is down. You just threw the guy at them. You managed to get out of there. And so you guys are kind of running through the streets at this point. You kind of finally make your way into the spaceport. And the spaceport, as you kind of make your way into the main area, you notice a couple of things here. You notice that there are stormtroopers everywhere, right? I mean, they have this place, like they're basically going through the process of locking the spaceport down so that ships can't leave, right? You see a lot of Toydarians basically at gunpoint being told to do this, right? You need to lock down the spaceport. You see that there are a ton of angry aliens of all kinds, here saying, I want to get on my ship. I want to leave. There's administrative staff. It's chaos. And you see at the far end, the governor's entourage still carrying him, heading towards a very visible, Imperial shuttle. And so between you is all of this chaos. This is probably your last chance. If you're going to be able to do anything, now is your chance to try it. But they're on the other end of the spaceport.
You see what I see?
Yeah, I definitely see that. But I do got a quick question.
Yeah.
Are they like how far are they from me, like running wise?
Well, so if you wanted to run, if everything went perfectly for you, they would be at long range from you, but you've got a ton of stormtroopers and other guys in the way that would probably get in your way.
I gotcha. Well, is there any chance to try to find like an area up above or somewhere where I can get like a range shot at them?
I think that's the perfect use for a destiny point right there.
Yeah, definitely use that point.
So I think that there's like an access hatch nearby that would go up to like maybe a little catwalk or whatever. And I think that potentially it would be like where they might transport cargo up there, like a conveyor belt kind of thing. So yeah, I think if you wanted to try to get up there, you could climb up and try to take a shot. Now the problem is they're trying to lock down the spaceport, right? So you might be seen. So there's a couple of things you could do. You could try to get up there really fast, which would require an athletics check, or you could try to do it stealthily, which would be stealth.
Well, there's no time, so I think Kale's gonna turn around and look at Benji real quick. And he's gonna like rip his dog tags, put it in her hand, and he's gonna be like, "Whatever happens, just get out of here alive. Don't let this go in vain." And he's gonna run up there and try to get a shot.
Damn it!
All right, perfect. Go ahead and make a athletics check for me then against 1 purple and 1 red. Because I upgraded.
Quick question. Like, once I do that and I go up there, would I be like in range, or I have to like jump another thing to get close enough?
You would like have to run, but we're in sort of narrative mode at this point, so
Okay.
yeah, you'll be okay.
Okay, I was just debating if I should use another destiny point, but I don't think I want to give you too many. You said athletics, right?
Yep. Again, yep. Against 1 purple and 1 red. Nice. Okay. So 1 more point of strain. Where are you at, by the way? How many strain do you have right now?
With that one, it would be 7 out
Okay.
of 13.
Of 13. All right, cool. So yeah, so you managed to make it up there, and you pull yourself up. A couple of guys are like, hey, what? And then this is a conveyor belt, and it's going in the direction that you need to go. So you can basically it's like if you're in the airport and you just run on a conveyor belt, you go that much faster. That's what you're doing, right? You're like, doof, 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 doof.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, and because this was not an Imperial facility, there is actually a railing on the side of this thing. And so, yeah, you've basically got this railing on either side. You got the conveyor belt, and you're kind of going along. You see, for a moment, the governor, about half of his entourage splits off from him as they're going to the shuttle to bring the ramp down and everything. And you see that. You also see Vendry starting to just run full blast towards the governor. Now, Vendry, you're going to have to make some kind of check as well, because you're going to basically have to get through this crowd. So either you could do, again, athletics. I don't think coordination would make sense in this case, necessarily, because you can't go carefully. But you could potentially do brawl to kind of shove people out of your way.
My brawl's not any better than my athletics. So it's kind of the same. I mean, it's the same. So, okay, yeah, I'm gonna just try to shove people and do what it takes.
Alrighty, go for it. Just 2 purple.
Then that figure.
Yep, canceled out. All right, you basically get detained by a bunch of stormtroopers. They grab you and they're like, "Hey, what is it? What are you doing in here? State your business."
Well, can I set off the thing?
Yep, you
and
can.
Just take them out?
Absolutely.
I'm going to do that. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it'll at least give him a easier shot at the governor.
Yep, and so you're like, here's my business. All right. Kale, it's all down to you. As you hear this explosion behind you, it's almost as if your vision kind of tunnels in, right? And everything around you goes blurry except the governor. You can't hear any sound except the whirring of the conveyor belt and your heart beating. And you know that you've got a couple of seconds before you're going to get to the end of this conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt just drops. Like, it would basically just, because it's going to drop cargo into like a bin that would then bring it over to. So you've got a couple of seconds. So if you want, now is your chance. You could take a shot. You're at this point, you're in medium range, so you're close enough that I think, you could have a decent chance here. However, because you're on this conveyor belt and there's all this chaos and confusion, there will be a black setback dice. And because I'm not going to make this easy for you, I'm also going to upgrade it. So what you're going to be looking at is, actually, I'm going to upgrade it twice. So you're going to be looking at 2 red and 1 black for the negative part of your pool.
Quick question. How many destiny points can I use?
So you can use 2 right now, because you can't use a destiny point that was just flipped on that turn, but you guys had 2 available.
Oh, might as well use both and go ham. And can I take aim like if I'm holding onto the railing type thing?
Yeah, I'll say that in this case you definitely can take aim.
All right, and heavy shot or light shot or whatnot?
Yeah, so ranged heavy, right? Because you're using your heavy blaster.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yep. So you got a boost for aiming. Yes, I think that makes sense, Chris. You can take a second boost for the distraction because there's that explosion. 2 purple.
So you said 2 purple?
Yep, and 1 black.
1 black.
Oh, sorry, no, not 2 purple. 2 red. It's 2 red. Yeah.
And 1 purple or 0 purple?
Wait, hold on. How many destiny points did I use? I used 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so just 2 red, no purples. Okay. 1 black.
And my normal shooting, do I upgrade any dice on that?
Yeah, what was your normal shooting before you did any upgrades?
2 yellows and a green.
Okay, so then in this case, do 3 yellows and a green.
Okay.
Yep, because you would use 1 to upgrade that 3rd yellow or that 3rd green to a yellow. So normally you'd have 3 yellows, but because you're using an additional destiny point, you then get an additional green. So you're looking at 1 green, 3 yellows, 2 blues, 2 reds, and 1 black.
All right, here we go.
Yep. Oh!
I don't know.
So that means that you don't succeed. You have to get at least 1 of the little star symbols to succeed. So
yep, I definitely jinxed that earlier.
Yeah, but you have 2 advantages. So do you have an so though you have 2 kind of something good will happen, not tremendously good, but you can't succeed here. But do you have any idea for what you might want to use those advantages for?
Since they're all in the ground and by himself, can I try to make another shot before they get up?
Unfortunately not. You could use that to make another maneuver, but a maneuver, a shot would be an action. So you could potentially like use your maneuver.
Can I make a maneuver to like jump down and then head this way?
Yeah, you could sort of use the advantages to like sort of use your momentum to jump down and land on your feet instead of like tumbling or whatever. You won't be able to move right away, but yeah, so you kind of take the shot, right, and just sort of as you are lining up, you kind of take aim for a minute. The conveyor belt jerks a little bit as you don't necessarily know this, but what happens is cargo is actually being loaded onto it just at that moment. So it's like this big old crate, boom, and it jostles it, and you kind of jostle, and it makes the shot go just wide. You kind of get to the end of the conveyor belt, do like a little bit of a tumble or flip or whatever, and happen to land on your feet. You're in this big container that has all of these like boxes and crates and stuff in it that would potentially be moved into the facility. Now, nothing is going to happen right now. Nobody's cargo is going to get loaded because the whole thing is locked down. The explosion, you can hear everybody kind of yelling and screaming at this point, and then you kind of hear this, and as you kind of look up, like you're going to prepare to climb out of this container, you see a whole bunch of white helmeted faces and blaster rifles pointing at you.
Oh, yeah.
And that is where we'll end the session.
That was nice.
So
Oh man.
We got some Age of Rebellion.
No.
The governor survived, but you guys had a few chances. He gets on his
Governor.
Yep, he gets on his shuttle. The shuttle takes off up to the Star Destroyer. There's a big old riot in the starport, and a bunch of people get shot by stormtroopers. The Toydarian guards are making a nuisance of themselves, trying to stop all the destruction, the death, the chaos. And Kale, the sole surviving member of the partisans, will find himself in Imperial custody.
Man, that was horrible. I was hoping I had that.
You had good rolls all night long too, and then finally at the very end, it was just that. So yeah, so that's that. I love this game. I will show you guys actually. My prep was, well, you can't see it. The audience can see it though. It was keys to the session, basically just like keep the pressure on, use threats for strain, use dark side points, fog, smoke, chaos, crowds, and then the final thing I put on that was succeed or die. And then basically I just had index cards with scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, a couple of bullet points. So, and my my handy dandy adversary cards, which are really nice, and get those if you don't have them. And that was that. So what did you guys think? I guess I'll start with Jose. For your first time playing Edge of the Empire, hopefully I had a good impression on you.
Oh, dude, I loved it. It was great. Like, yeah, so much fun. Even though I didn't get to kill that guy, it's still fun as hell. I mean, it was good if something like that did happen, because I mean, it can't be all like, going our way and shit. But it was freaking nuts.
Yeah, it was. It was intense there. Like, I definitely, I like the way you guys played that, and. Man, I'll tell you what, Jose, for your first time playing this game, like, you really used the destiny points well. I think there was very good creative uses for those. And I think that's what it's about. Like, that's how you use those to really kind of propel the story along. And I think that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I actually found that like great. I thought it was great that you kept using them, and I was like, you know what? I want to use them too, kind of like challenge you with it. But
totally, yeah.
I had a blast. Like, I hope I didn't disappoint.
No, not at all. It was great. Yeah. And for anybody watching, if you missed it in the beginning, we were using the pre-generated characters from the Age of Rebellion beginner game adventure book right here. I didn't actually use the adventure book because this is a module, but whatever. But we used the pre-gens from that. And I think those were pretty cool. Chris, what did you think? Did you have a fun time playing Vendry, the Duro spy?
I did. I can't believe I didn't shoot my blaster rifle even once.
Yeah. It's one of those things, I think, where like it made sense because you weren't trying to tangle with the Imperials. Like, if your goal was to fight the stormtroopers, that's what it would have been. But like, and because you're a spy, I think it makes the most sense for you of all people that you didn't necessarily open up, because you were trying to get to the governor. Yeah.
I wanted to stealth so bad, and Jose kept saying, "We don't have time for that." And I'm like, "I want to stealth." It was awesome. It was really fun, and it was fun to. Man, I'm bummed that we did not take the governor out, but it was fun. It was kind of fun to go out with a bang too.
Nice. Yeah, I'm kind of bummed as well. I mean, I really didn't care one way or another. Like, I had no sort of love for the governor, but I figured like it would have been interesting to see what would happen if you had taken the governor out. Oh my goodness, that would have caused some ripple effects, but but we didn't. So that was crazy. And Rory, Commander Arkhan. You, yeah, tell me about the experience.
That game was fun. That was the high pressure, high stress was great. I see what Chris is saying. Not the best game for a spy since everything was like move forward, move forward, move forward, move forward. But all in all, really fun. I didn't actually fire my blaster either. When I thought about it, when I died, I was like, but got to throw an awesome grenade.
Yep.
And take down a Walker Scout, which was a pretty cool experience to visualize that. And then another one goes down right after that. So
yeah,
it was all Battle of Hoth for us on Toydaria. That was a lot of fun. The commander was cool. I have to say I struggled a little bit in not knowing really how to properly use his leadership skills.
Yeah.
He had a lot of them. That was kind of his like main perk. He actually had pretty good blaster fire and light fire. Like he was a pretty good fighter too, so that helped me throw that grenade and land that hit. So got to use that. But I actually don't really know how to use leadership in the game effectively. So I'm gonna actually probably read a few things. So that was an interesting thing to stumble across, having never played a character like that. So it's always nice to know that you can still read more.
Yeah, and I think, that was unfortunately one of the disadvantages. It was because I put this together so quickly, we didn't necessarily have enough time to really dig into those. But yeah, the commander and in Edge of the Empire, some of the specializations have those leadership talents, which can be insane when you start taking like the talents and all that, because you can start like Jesus. I mean, you can do things. I think like give extra maneuvers and like all kinds of stuff. It's cool.
Equal to the number of points you put, number of skills you have in that talent branch, and there was like boost for checks for your team based on the number of points you put in that talent skill. Yeah, there's definitely cool things you can do as you advance it.
Yeah, for sure. It's neat. Awesome. All right. Well, I think I am going to end the broadcast here shortly, but this was great. So just again to reiterate, this was basically taking a sort of a snapshot of what happened in our Edge of the Empire session. This attack on the governor, the first attack on the governor, happened, and then there was results because of that. This was kind of the immediate aftermath of that from the Bravo Squadron on the planet. And what's very interesting is because there is a surviving member of this team, our Edge of the Empire crew, at least two of them have have some rebel backgrounds. They're nebulous, but they have them, and so that could play into the next session. But next week, Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, I think it'll be on my channel. I'll have to check. We're going to be running, Anthony, who's in the campaign, is going to be running a game for us in which we are playing the Imperials, and we will be aboard the Imperial Star Destroyer. I will be playing the Admiral. The other guys will be playing, I believe, TIE Fighter crew. And we got some angry smugglers that are looking to leave. Who knows if there's going to be any rebels? I don't know, but tune in for that. That should be a hell of a time. And then typically we run that campaign every 2 weeks on Sunday. So keep an eye out for that. But this was a blast. Thank you guys so much for agreeing to play, and sign off.